Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here, and today I'm coming to you with some very exciting Spiritborn information. If you're not already aware, me and a whole bunch of other content creators were able to fly out to LA, go and tour the Blizzard HQ, meet with a bunch of devs and ask questions, and then get to play Spiritborn for 2 hours. Now, during this time, I made sure to go and hover over every single skill point in the passive tree, every single aspect at the enchanter, and every single tempering recipe that I could find. And we have compiled that all into one giant document that is going to be open for you to peruse. I'll put it linked down in the description below. That was put together mostly by me. It took me like 8-9 hours of going through film, and then a little bit of help as well from my buddy Lex. He had some of the lucky hit stuff that I happened to miss. Now, before we hop into this, just a real quick thing. I noticed that about 77% of you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, and I don't really take any sort of like sponsorships for the most part on this channel. So if you're looking to help out, please consider dropping me a subscription here on YouTube or like a follow on Twitch. So let's talk about Spiritborn real quick. Spiritborn is really cool because there are going to be 4 different spirit guardians that you can summon up and work with. And there's this nice little chart here that they had shown us during the presentation for the class. And there's a lot of different themes that are around these different classes, but there's a lot of stuff that is also between the different classes. So Gorilla and Eagle, for example, will have sources of barrier, while Eagle and Centipede have vulnerable. Jaguar and Centipede both have healing. Gorilla and Jaguar have dodge. And then Jaguar and Eagle have crit, while Gorilla and Centipede have thorns. And each of these also have their own little things that they're very good at. And let's just go through some of the key words real quickly. So you're going to see the word vigor everywhere. And pretty much what that is, it's the primary resource or like mana for Spiritborns. And so this is just something you're going to generate with your basic abilities, and you're going to spend in a multitude of ways. Ferocity is basically a buff that increases your attack speed by 5% per stack. This effect stacks up to 4 times normally. You can get it increased by quite a bit, I believe, up to like maybe 9 or maybe 10. And this is mostly associated with the Jaguar. Resolve is kind of like an ablative damage reduction, where whenever you take a direct damage hit, it's going to reduce it by 20%, but then you're going to lose a stack. And you can have up to 8 stacks. This is mostly associated with Gorilla. And then Unhindered is kind of a keyword, I guess, that might already kind of be in the game. But this allows you to just move through enemies, and your movement speed is also not reduced. This is like on a couple of things here. Lastly, there's this thing called Mystic Circles. Now, I didn't really see these right away, but there are, I believe, 4 or 5 aspects in the game that give you a chance to generate a Mystic Circle for 10 seconds. And these kind of like empower different abilities that you have. And you can find most of these if you go to the aspects section of the document, and they're called like blank power. So this one here is Plains power, and this is the Jaguar related one. So you get a 25% lucky hit chance to create a Mystic Circle for 10 seconds. And then casting a Jaguar skill in the Mystic Circle empowers them to keep your ferocity at max and to increase your damage by up to 6% per stack while you remain in the circle. And so if you have like, 5 ferocity there, it's like a 30% damage boost. And there's some other stuff in here that can make Mystic Circles pretty good. And I think these are especially going to be strong against bosses, because you're not going to be moving as much. Now, other things that we want to talk about here real quick is the weapon types that the Spiritborn can use. There are basically 3 different weapon types that they can use: glaives, quarterstaves, and polearms. I didn't really see if they had changed polearms here, but these are kind of the stats that I saw on weapons in the thing. The Spirit Hall is a quick breakdown of kind of what the class mechanic is for Spiritborn. The Spiritborn pretty much have that's kind of like the druid setup, but like on a whole nother level. You can pretty much choose a major and a minor like spirit to kind of like be your guardian, if you would. And so like in this example here, I have Jaguar as major and minor, so you can double up. And what each of the majors is going to do is that if you pick a particular guardian to be a major, all of the skills that you use period are going to also have that tag. So you can make like everything Centipede, everything Jaguar, everything Eagle, everything Gorilla if you really want. But then they have additional buffs on top of that. Jaguar makes it so that every 4th time you deal direct damage to an enemy, you basically re-slash them for all of that 4 hits. So this is really good for non-damage over time builds because you're basically doubling your damage with the Jaguar, which I think is pretty ridiculous. Eagle's also really strong because casting an Eagle skill gives you 2 Storm Feathers up to a maximum of 8. Then when you evade, all your Storm Feathers fire out as lightning damage, 100% lightning damage. They make targets vulnerable. So this is kind of an easy way to get vulnerable in your build. These also kind of do a lot of damage, doing like 800% lightning damage on an evade. And yeah, like this was just like pretty good because evade is something the Eagle like build in general wants to do a lot. Gorilla is ridiculously tanky. So casting a Gorilla skill deals 100% thorns to enemies you hit. So it just adds a ton of like thorns flat damage to your attacks, and it grants you a barrier for 10% of your maximum life, up to 40% for 3 seconds. Now, I'm not necessarily sure how much damage having 100% thorns added to your hits is going to do, but if like thorns barbs is any indicator, Gorilla is going to be really punching quite hard with this. This might even be better than the Jaguar for builds that are stacking thorns, and also just makes it so you can basically just never die as long as you're spamming buttons, because you're going to have like 40% barrier just easily up all of the time. Lastly, we have Centipede, where hitting an enemy with Centipede skill reduces their damage by 2.5% and then slows them by 10% for 3 seconds, and that stacks up to a maximum of 8 times. Now, one thing I do want to point out real quick is that if we go down here to the tempers, I believe it's down here, we can see on Centipede augments, which is the only weapon augment I found, is that there is a primary Centipede Spirit Hall potency value increase, and this is the magic version of this temper. So it's a possibility that you could get like 100% effect of whatever your Spirit Hall potency, like whatever you choose, from just augments alone. Now these are weapons, so you're only gonna be able to have it on your 2-hander weapon, probably like double the value we see here. But I definitely think that these could be quite an interesting option where you don't necessarily want to like boost one particular skill, but instead you want to boost your Spirit Hall altogether. Next up, talking about the themes in general, we talked about this part a little bit already, but I really do think it's very interesting how you're gonna be able to mix and match and put certain skills into your build, because you want to splash for things like vulnerable, maybe you just want a little bit of dodge or even healing, so you get some recovery going on. Now for the skills, for the most part, I've gone through here and I first start off with kind of the block of what the skills look like on the skill panel. And for the most part, should be relatively easy to tell which ones are which. The yellow ones here are the Gorilla skills, blue is Eagle, red is for the Jaguar, and then the Centipede is green. And if you go through here, you can go and see all of the different abilities, what the points are after them. And I've also like notated here below the image, which one is which. So like for here, sharp rock splitter is this left one, whereas accelerated rock splitter is the right one. Now on some of these, they are like flip-flopped for whatever reason. Not really sure if that's like just an issue where they haven't gone through and done like a quality assurance test on this part or something, but you know, to figure it out. And likewise here on the core, where we start getting some passive skill nodes, I have indicated on the passives which ones are going to be ones to really kind of in which direction. So like follow through here is the southern node, and then vigorous and velocity are the ones to the east pair, like so. And yeah, this is pretty much like all the different skills. There's a lot of very interesting combinations in here. I would highly recommend going through and checking out the aspects. I'm not necessarily sure if all of the aspects are in this document, mostly because we didn't have direct access to the Codex of Power. Instead, I had to go to the Occultist and scroll through all the lists. And it's definitely possible that there's some stuff that is still in development or we just didn't have yet. But a lot of these are particularly interesting, like Payback, for example, now echoes forward and additionally deals 130% of your thorns damage to enemies, is something I thought was kind of interesting because Payback doesn't really normally go very far, but it turns into this giant, like almost like Goku punch type of thing where it just chains off. And this kind of reminds me a little bit of Pulverize from Druid, but I heard that there is a unique ring that we didn't get access to in the beta or in the test run, and it helps reset the cooldown of Payback, because Payback is a skill that has quite a lengthy cooldown normally, a 12-second cooldown. It smashes forward doing 100% damage, and when attacked, you have a chance to reduce the cooldown of this, and it appeared to go up by like 10% damage per point. And then some of the enhanced things here, so each time an enemy attacks you, the damage they take from Payback is increased by 5% for 60 seconds. We take this percentage out, up to 75%. So especially if you're fighting a boss, Payback could really start to do a lot of damage if they continue to hit you. And you can even turn this into a core skill where it's going to consume all of your available vigor, and it increases its damage by 1 or 0.5% per point spent. And so that's like quite a bit. That's like 50% more, I think, if you just have a baseline 100 vigor. And this really reminds me a lot of like Hammer of the Ancients, Hoda, if you would, for Barbarian. It's a very powerful build. And so this is something that we probably look out for. Also, Payback has this other thing where if you get crowd controlled while it's on cooldown, it becomes free to cast and grants you unstoppable for 3 seconds. So this is the type of thing you could potentially have on your bar, even if you just want to do a little bit of damage with it, but another way to get unstoppable. But I would definitely go through all of those aspects, take a look at some of the tempers. We can kind of tell that there's going to be a theme, like centipede augments kind of implies there's a jaguar augments and a eagle augments and a gorilla augments, because you can see similar ones here. For example, on resources, we're able to get, I believe, 3 out of the 4. I was able to pretty much assume that since this has, similar values to the other 2 that we were able to find, that eagle efficiency here would probably give us focus cooldown reduction, but that's just pretty much a guesstimate at this point. And then last but not least, at the end, I've put all of the uniques that we have found. As I said here, they preview 2 uniques. One of them actually they just gave to us, so I'll probably change the text up there. This one is all about basic attacks. It is incredibly stinking strong. At first glance, this might not seem all that great. I mean, all stats is pretty nice, but not like game breaking. Damage while healthy is kind of a cooldown reduction at 14% is pretty good. And then 6 to follow through, which you probably don't know what that is yet, but then your basic skills deal 200% increased damage, assuming this is multiplicative, and they always use their 3rd attack, and every 3rd cast unleashes triple strikes. So basic skills basically typically have a like 1, 2, 3 type of setup, and the 3rd hit is typically more powerful. So it's going to make sure that the 3rd hit always happens. So we just take a quick peek here, for example, like Thrash. You dive at the enemy, you slash it for 10% damage, and your 3rd attack unleashes a rapid series of slashes around your target, dealing a total of 25% damage. So it's a pretty big damage bump up there. Like Thunder Spike here, your damage is going from 15% to 23% and reduces your evade cooldown by 5 whole seconds. So with that staff and Thunder Spike, you're just gonna be evading all of the time. Rock Splitter, your damage goes from 15% to 28% and hits all the way around you. So it's definitely a very interesting unique, but this follow through thing makes it even more interesting. So follow through is your basic skills deal 10% increased damage, double this bonus for 3rd attacks. So if we get 9 ranks of this from being greater, that means we're getting 180% multiplier for all of your basic attacks. So this is pretty much going to be the weapon for empowering basic attack builds, and it's really cool that they're putting this in right away. The other uniques that they showed us were these boots here that pretty much make it so that you can use Soar as your evade, and Soar is like kind of like a sorcerer teleport, which is pretty powerful. And then we have this Ring of the Gorilla Centipede. Obviously the name is placeholder, and this one makes it so that you generate vigor every time you deal thorns damage to enemies. So this pretty much just allows you to not have any sort of generator as long as you're getting hit. You also just get Toxic Skin as a baseline here, which enemies that attack you are poisoned. I kind of think that this maybe not be all that great for right now. I'm kind of hoping that they improve this a little bit, simply because that's not really, like, I think that if you're doing a Thorns build, you're already going to want to have Toxic Skin, but this might just make it so you don't necessarily want to use that. The other things that they showed us was a hat that made it so that for every Spirit Guardian tag that a skill has, it was going to get up to 50% more damage to it. So like if you're using the Jaguar Spirit Hall and using, you know, Eagle skills, they would get up to 100% more damage. And then they said that they were also going to do a hat that was more about focusing in on one Spirit Guardian. So like how like some of my first build that I did is going to be Jaguar, and then using a lot of Jaguar skills. And so that was supposedly buff that, but we don't know anything about that. So I'm going to put this document in the description down below. Let me know what you guys think. And thank you so much for all the love and support. We'll see you soon.